Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Talk. We have a big week because we're coming off of a big week and we have something big coming. You know what it is after the letdown of finishing a big week?
How many big weeks in a row can we stack up there, Jeff? Seriously.
So
the answer is Saturday.
This is Thanksgiving coming up. And we just got off of a big weekend of Thanksgiving of 50 years. So we kind of feel like we've already done Thanksgiving. That's why it's hard to, oh yeah, Thanksgiving's coming. But if you were here over the weekend, at either Friday night or Sunday or both, it was just a really neat celebration of 50 years, telling the story of our church, having some games on Friday night around things that happened in our church, being with people that haven't been here for a long time but came just for the event, and some that have been a long time, and then new people. One of the things that we did was a timeline, and you could put your picture up on the timeline and your name when you came. And I thought it was really neat that timeline wasn't just front-loaded or back-loaded or middle. All the way through there was pictures. It was really neat that people have come at different points along the history of the church.
You know, I remarked this to someone on Friday night, and I enjoyed everything, but the thing I think I enjoyed the most was the people who seemed to be having the most fun. And from my perspective, it was the group serving that were having like their own little version of like a high school reunion, which was like a youth group reunion. And it made me kind of wish that my church had an anniversary celebration, and then and then I thought, oh, maybe I should just, get a bunch of us together, because that looked fun. It looked like they were just having such a joyous, good time reconnecting themselves. And
just so if you don't know, the people that served us Friday night were Calhoun, Dan, I forget the last name, but people that were, Michelle Parsons, people that were in youth here at Lakeview, I don't know, 30 years ago?
Well, let's not age them.
Sorry, long time ago. But 5 or 6 of them came together and served us, and I think that's what you're referring to.
That's exactly what I'm referring to. And it was a good reminder for all of us that you can have such great joy in serving one, which I think we've all experienced, and it was just another example of the fun and joy that was had in reconnecting with other people that we haven't seen in a long time. And so, some of that happened Friday night, some of it happened Sunday morning, some of it happened both, and it was really nice.
Which really was our hope. It was our hope to say, we are a multi-generational church right now, but it's really cool to also bring in people from years ago to connect with the people who are younger and older now, and to have all those generations and all those different attendees from over the years. That was really cool for me to be able to see. I haven't seen this person in 30 years. I haven't seen this person in 5-10 years, and they used to be a part of Lakeview. They're either going somewhere else or they moved away. That was a really cool connection point for me.
I think probably my second favorite moment was when Lyndon spoke on Sunday, and he told a joke that those of us who have been around were like, yeah, that's funny because it's true. And then he acknowledged all the people in the room who weren't laughing because they were just too new. And I thought that was really enjoyable. Just the fact that and I think that was something that even hit me Friday night. The fact that in that room, there was people we needed to introduce ourselves to who were from a long time ago, who just maybe don't know who you are or who I and the other way around, where some of the old-time previous pastors don't know the new people. And that's just, I think, that was refreshing, actually, right? Because it points to signs of life.
Yeah, it was a great celebration. And on Sunday morning, we heard testimonies from people of how they came to Lakeview, what Lakeview's meant to them. But we also heard from Lyndon, and what the question he left us with, that he just he kept saying, when I tell you the question, we're like, what's the question? And then finally he tells us the question and talks about it. But the question was, what breaks your heart? And as I pondered that, I thought that's a really good question. every reason that he gave made it a good question, but for me, I was like, as I was reflecting, what breaks your heart? And I think part of the reason that's such a good question is, if I'm really honest, a lot of times I'll say, man, it breaks my heart when my wife doesn't give me what I want. Or it breaks my heart when I go to the store and they don't have what I want. Or, do you know what I mean? Like if I'm really honest, those are some of the things that break my heart. And then if I think about it, I'm like, what? That breaks my heart? Those things? I mean, and I'm being a little facetious here, but it's really helpful to really help us. Like, does my heart break for the things that God's heart breaks for? Those are some of the things that I was thinking. What stood out to you guys about that or something else?
But with that, like, I don't know if you can actually take that question lightly. It actually requires a huge amount of honesty.
Yeah.
Because it's not, the answer's not 7. The answer's not, Tuesday.
Right.
It actually requires a good amount of wrestling, struggling, and I know it sounds weird. Sometimes when I'm feeling in a mood, I like sad country songs because for some reason they just connect a little bit more. And I think when he said, if you take this question seriously, it will wreck you. Because what happens is then you are ready to understand and see and hear what God has for you. Because you then say, God, what breaks your heart? Like that's kind of the next step behind that. And it changes lives. And I think he very much alluded to the fact that, like, in the back of the room, that, he said 100 square feet, but, a little bit more than that. But in that very back of the room where people have sat and had conversations and done fellowship and connected with people or listened to the Spirit of God and then been able to reflect on that, it has changed lives. Because in my home church, that was kind of where my call to ministry came, in saying, I see the mission of God, I see what He has given me, and it breaks my heart if I was not going to follow through with this. So when He called me, it was like, I have to. Otherwise, there's nowhere else. Like Peter's thing of like, Lord, where would we go without you? What else would we do? It would break our heart to do anything but follow you.
Yeah, I'm really glad he highlighted that, because I think, I mean, I think what it does is it also reminded me of a number of moments where Lyndon has this way of just kind of saying something that makes you think, right? His question, that as well. Because I think typically we expect actually it to be the, 4 square feet front center of the stage. That's going to have the biggest impact, right? We think it's going to be the pulpit or lack of pulpit or whatever that stand is that has the pastor's notes when he preaches, to be the space where, but actually it's in the conversations between brothers and sisters in the backs of the room and in the aisles and in the foyers and in this room we're in right now, which is the fellowship room, and in the life groups. And it's so much more than just that. I mean, what happens on stage is really important. I'm not trying to diminish that. But if we think that's the height and the pinnacle of what God uses, we miss everything else that He does through His Spirit. And so, I appreciated that He helped refocus us on that. That, it's the conversations after the service that matter a lot.
Man, there's so many examples of what broke Jesus' heart. Like, when did He cry? When death was the focus, right? And that people didn't see Him as the life that could come out of that, right? And
right. And when the people made it all about the religious ritual and missed the heartbeat behind it, about, hey, what do I need to do to be close to God? That's what I'm going to focus on, instead made it about the rule.
And they ignored people the fast, you know, you fast and you do all this religious stuff, but you're not caring about the poor, right?
Right.
You're not caring about people and loving people.
Yeah, when I think about the question itself, right, what breaks your heart, I think of clanging cymbals. Not just because they're really irritating, but right, that's Paul's example of what it's like to live without love. And I think when we act unloving, I think that breaks God's heart, and I think that I wish it broke mine more, but it does, and it is so problematic.
Yeah.
Especially when if I see myself acting that way. But like, when we see our kids acting in that way with one another, it's like, or we see, people in the community, like it's just, when you get to be that passive observer, it's just heartbreaking.
Well, the good news is Philippians 1:6 talks about how he's taking our hearts that aren't quite in line with him and bringing it in line, right? The good work he's begun in us, making your heart around the right question or the right answer to that in line with his. He's carrying it on to completion, and so we can have that hope that our hearts are being brought into line. Now, if you go on in Philippians, it talks about work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is him who works in you. Like there's a partnership. We can't just say, oh, okay, yeah, great, God's carrying me on to completion and do nothing about it. We all know this, but it's good to be reminded. We do play a part. Like we open ourselves, we wrestle with the question, and then we ask him, Lord, break my heart for what breaks yours. And so that's the beauty of that passage, is like we are being brought in line with him as we cry out, as we ask, as we strive to come in line. He's doing that work in us. So any thoughts before we move on to what's ahead?
I think that was a fantastic way to move forward, to say God is leading us now and continuing to lead us, and has always led us to this point of completion, even though we look at the fact that there's another 50 years ahead of our church possibly until that glorious day, and he will continue to make us complete in all of these things, and then he will make us fully complete when we see him face to face. And I love that it just kind of pointed us forward, and then we stepped right into communion and said, okay, remember this as we move forward. Like it was a beautiful picture for me, just
really
moving forward into the next 50 years of what God has for us as, yes, the building, yes, the church, but really the people of God that he has called to himself.
So good. Yeah. Well, coming this weekend, we get to celebrate Thanksgiving, and we get to hopefully in our private family celebrations, the celebrations that you have that aren't focused around here with all of us. We can be talking about and thinking about what we're grateful and thankful for. When we come together on Sunday morning, we can talk about what we're grateful and thankful for. We have John Chalkus coming, who you guys have a longer history with him, but he was here since I've been here, and a couple times from Seeds of Hope, and he's going to be telling us a little bit about Seeds of Hope, and we're just really thankful that we get to be partnered with him. And so we thought it was a great opportunity on Thanksgiving to have him come and share, and we can be thankful that we're part of that. So those are some of the things that are coming. Anything else before we get to the...
Oh, where'd he go?
Yeah.
And Christmas is coming.
Christmas is coming. So if you've been around us at Lakeview long, you will know that we collect Christmas boxes for Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child. And these go at different places throughout the world. And a child gets a gift for their age group and for their age range and gender, and then they get to enjoy this as a gift. So
another example of what broke somebody's heart, and they decided to do something about it.
Right.
Yes.
The fact that there are communities that A, have not been reached with the love of Jesus, and B, there are kids who are just living in poverty.
Yeah.
Can we not do something about that? And okay, here's, this is like the Watkins solution. It allows us to get into those places and care for them, but really, ultimately, we see the love of Jesus changing people's lives.
And if you don't know what this is, it's an opportunity for us to pack a box with, they have a lot of list of toys and,
Yeah, if you go on their website,
Products
there'll be
and stuff.
suggestions, there'll be
Yeah.
what not to pack as well, because these go international, so that's something to be mindful of.
right,
There's a few brochures on our counter too in the foyer that people can pick up if they want the offline version of it. And I think it's kind of neat. It kind of runs from Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving, if you pay attention to American Thanksgiving. And so you've got a month
Yeah,
basically
and
to
the
pick it
reason-
up and pack it.
Yeah, the reason it's so early is because they got to ship it internationally. So, we got about a month to pack these, so we wanted to let you know ahead of time. That's
Some of
kind
you have already started, because I know like in our family, my wife does comb the back to school sales to go, oh, here's
yeah.
some pencil crayons,
Yeah.
we can include and stuff like that. But it's just, for us, it's kind of a fun, instructive family project we work on. And I'd encourage you to consider that for your family. Whether it's you with the grandkids or whoever's in your life, make it a multi-generational packing project and pray over the box and think about who might be receiving it, and then thank God for them because He loves them dearly and knows their name.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool, that we get to be a little part of that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the idea of prayerfully considering who's going to get it.
Yeah.
The last thing we want to kind of leave you with, I think the last thing, unless you guys correct me, is you talked about on Sunday a soft opening of life groups. And so
Sorry, go on.
we want to hear from you if you want to be a part of a life group and haven't been. We're trying to figure out how to make sure we have enough leaders and groups and times and all that kind of stuff as best we can. So please let us know if you're interested in a life group, if we don't already know that. Talk to Kevin or me would be great. And I mean, you can talk to Chris too, but
I'll probably just say
he'll
go talk to
refer you
Kevin or
So yeah, did you want to say anything more about that, Kevin?
No, just that it's a great opportunity because this is kind of the beginning of a school year, fall year, and there's even a bit of a group mix-up happening. So things are going to kind of add some fresh life to some of the groups too, and some of the changes. So talking with the leader, if you're already part of a group, talking with your leader and saying, okay, when are we starting? Or even, hey, we wanted to maybe switch to a different night or a different group or something like that. Now's a good time to actually kind of shake it up a little bit. And this is a great opportunity for you. And so come and talk to us and we can kind of point you in the right direction for that.
Do you have something else?
No,
It sounded
beautiful.
like it sounded like when I was
No.
talking. Okay, so we hope you have a great week and be, as always, we always want to be thinking about what we're thankful for. But we do have a special focus this week on Thanksgiving. So we hope that you just are really expressing your thanks to God and to the people in your life. That would be good to hear that. So have a great week.